Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to give it a couple minutes that's a long time, a couple seconds for other people to join. We have a lot of people signed up today for this interesting topic that we're getting into. So welcome as you're coming in. Give it a little more time. All right, let's kick this off. So welcome to today's NAA iSeries webinar. I am Erin Ships, Director of Marketing and Communications for the National Auctioneers Association. And I'd like to thank you for joining us for today's iSeries about remaking your entrepreneurial spirit. Through iSeries, the NAA shares free auction insights. As the world's largest association dedicated to auction professionals, the NAA educates and represents the interests of thousands of auction professionals worldwide. We're talking about the entrepreneurial, that's a difficult word, entrepreneurial spirit today, because a whopping 82% of our membership are principals or owners of their own companies. Owning a small business is hard enough, but when you toss in a pandemic, 2020 just got astronomically more difficult. So sit down, put your feet up, and let's just chat with our resident encourager, Tim Luke. Tim is a decorated NAA member holding CAI, BAS, and MPPA designations. His extensive career in appraisals, antiques, and collectibles includes HGTV's Cash in the Attic, Antiques Roadshow, The Today Show, CNN, Good Morning America, a stint as the Director of Collectibles at Christie's in New York City, and now Senior Appraiser for Johns Incorporated. He has hosted the NAA's IAC Live broadcast and coached many IAC champions over the years. In addition, Tim teaches the NAA's Interpersonal Communications for Auction Professionals course, where he helps build character and confidence for auctioneers. During his presentation, you may take part in the conversation by submitting your own personal struggles as an entrepreneur and any questions in the Q&A box. Just hover over that Q&A at the bottom and it'll pop out. Send us everything you got. We'll get to as many of those as possible. And after that, we will also ask you to please take part in a very short poll. With that, welcome, Tim. Let's get this session rolling.
Okay, Erin, thank you. And thank everyone for being here today. I especially want to thank Erin and Cora for all that they do for the NAA. Much, much appreciated. They were so helpful in pulling this all together. So, remaking your entrepreneurial spirit is what we're going to be talking about. And entrepreneurship is a daily, and I'm going to say this again, daily struggle between the dread of not having enough work and the stress of having too much. And I'm sure that you've all experienced this. And if you haven't, I know you will, if you're just starting out. I've been in business on my own going on 30 years. I'm 30 years in the auction business, but on my own for 27 of those years. So it's been a real struggle of really some years, it's tons of work. Other years, all of a sudden, it's like feast or famine. And what do you do? And that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about today, is this whole thing about the entrepreneurial spirit. Throw in a pandemic like COVID-19, and what we've experienced is unprecedented. I mean, this pandemic has brought global economic activity to a halt. And as you all have experienced, I'm not telling you anything new, but the estimates say millions of small businesses will shut permanently as a result of this, which is pretty sad. Now, as entrepreneurs, and I think we all can relate to this, is that we all carry that financial burden of our business, is that we're stressful about making payroll, that we're responsible for our employees, for consultants, for paying the bills, for also marketing and getting yourself out there and being that brand ambassador. All of those things fall under entrepreneurship. And in order to keep that spirit high, it really takes a toll on you when you have a pandemic or shortness of business or wondering, wow, how are we going to make payroll this week? And I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. I want to encourage each and every one of you to say, hang in there and really keep trying, because the more that you keep trying and reinventing, the better you're going to make the foundation for your business. Now, this may feel insurmountable and completely out of your control. And one entrepreneur equated owning a business to riding a roller coaster after eating a burrito and drinking 4 beers. I've had that feeling. And I've had that feeling when just about going into a new client, trying to sign up a new client, or if it's a new auction, going to try and sell your business to whether it's a benefit auction, a benefit client, or whether it is somebody who has a large collection. It might be tractors, trailers, fine art, whatever it is. It is our responsibility to keep that spirit up, first of all, and to also keep the client's needs in mind, but also taking care of your business and taking care of yourself. And when you're feeling like this and all of those things are going on, it becomes very, very difficult. This is a troubling character trait of most entrepreneurs, is the attachment of self-esteem to the success or the failure of their business. And of course, when everything is going well and everything is great, you feel really great about your business. But think about those times that maybe you didn't get that job. Maybe somebody else beat you out. The competition was there. And or maybe things just aren't working out. Maybe you had to close a business. That failure really translates into your self-esteem, which of course it does, because if you're like me, you throw 200% of yourself, everything you have, into your business. And what we need to do is really try to think on how to not compartmentalize, but how to really separate and learn from the successes as well as learning from the failures. And I think that makes a big difference in the way and the success of your business and the way that you conduct it. As an entrepreneur, and I was just stating this, you're encouraged to leave it all out in the field at the expense of exhausting yourself. I don't know about you all, but I know last night I was up until 11:30 at night I'm working on 3 proposals, and also was finishing up this particular presentation. I was also looking at a couple of things. What do I need to do for the rest of the week? As an entrepreneur, and I don't have a secretary. Well, Greg, you know my husband, Greg, he does not consider himself the secretary or the keeper of my schedule. So I am constantly trying to stay on top of the timing, what I'm doing, and making sure that I have put enough time in the day for not only the things that I need, but also the things that I need for the business, but also the things that I need for me. You cannot keep exhausting yourself, because if you do that, then you're going to be no good to your business, to your employees, or to your family. And that's a big thing that you have to remember. This is another one, and I think that you can do everything right and still ultimately face circumstances that are beyond your control. And like this pandemic, like there's a number of things that may happen that are beyond your control. And I want you to think back now to something that you did not, when you weren't in control of. How did you respond? And I'm sure it's one of 2 ways. It could have been, or it could have been, okay, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. What are we going to do? And I think the way that you respond to these circumstances that are beyond your control will really dictate your success as an entrepreneur. Because when things don't go your way, do you just stop and say, you know what, I can't go any further? Or do you say, wait a minute, how do I get around this? How am I going to, is there a workaround? Is there something else that we can do? How else can I look at this? Is there another perspective that maybe I wasn't thinking about that'll help me move forward? And if you challenge yourself to do that, I will assure you that every time that you are faced with a situation that you may feel it's beyond your control, you need to take action and take control of the situation. Now, you may not be able to change, like we're not changing the pandemic, but what actions have you taken to move forward in your business? Because a lot of people have seen the pandemic and they just stop and they've become very frightened. And don't let fear hold you back. Because as soon as you let the fear control you, you're not going to move forward. The only way to move forward is by taking action and by doing something and doing something positive. And that's very important, because if you don't, there are statistics that show about businesses. Only 2/3 of businesses survive their first 2 years, and half survive to 5 years. Now, this is all pre-COVID information. It'll be interesting to see next year at this time, where hopefully this is all gone and it's all behind us and it's just a distant memory, is to see what happened to the businesses, what happened to entrepreneurs, where did things fall in place, or did they fall in place? Did people survive? And if they didn't, if their business did not survive, did they reinvent themselves? Did they change? The things that were out of their control, did they say, wait a minute, I want to take a different action? And that's going to be interesting. Some people see failure, and this is a positive, some people see failure as a badge of honor and speak about every failure as a learning opportunity. And I want to encourage you to say, yes, this is the way you should be looking at things, is that go out there, do the best that you can, but realize that, well, if I fail, what did I learn from it? That becomes the next thing, instead of dumb, oh my gosh, why did this happen? Because if you start going down that road, it's a downward spiral, and you're never going to get back to the positive side. The positive side is, okay, this is what happened, didn't work out, but why? Let's take a look at the situation. What could I have done better? How could I have been more effective? And how can I, next time in this situation, what would I have done differently? Because that is when you start the growth. That is when you're going to grow as an entrepreneur. Because if every entrepreneur just stopped at their first failure, we wouldn't have Edison with the light bulb, or, there's a number of different inventors that I can speak about. The big thing is that you have to look at it as a badge of honor and say, you know what? I did my best. I threw myself into it. Just wasn't for me. This didn't work out, but I did this, and the things that I did like, I moved forward. So you show that badge of honor instead of just cowering and maybe not going on and doing anything else. It's a big difference. So, but what if your business is swept away by a tsunami, an industrial shift, or in the case for the last 7 months, a pandemic? What can you learn from that? And I want to give you 3 takeaways of things that you can really use business-wise, of what you can do. So the first one is, you need to start thinking creatively about how you can retain and grow your business. So I want to tell you a little story. So in March, when all of this started to hit, my benefit clients that I was doing all through March, April, and May started canceling. And I started calling them and talking to them. And what I said is, instead of canceling totally, let's change the model a little bit. Let me do a consulting fee for you, and let us move into rebranding, moving into maybe a virtual event or doing something. And at this point, nobody really knew what a virtual event looked like. But I thought, well, it's got to be the best next thing, and we've got to figure it out. I'm sure it'll be out there. The NAA was right there with a number of doing virtual benefit auctions, and here's what you do. Great. But I was able to be there for my clients and say, I'm right here with you. I'm going to hold your hand through this. I'm going to help you get through this, because you need to make money and you need to raise money to keep your business afloat, which I was also thinking, I need to make money to keep my business afloat as well. And if we work together, that synergy is what was working. But if you can think creatively about what you can typically do. So now I'm doing a lot of consulting, a lot of Zoom calls, where when Zoom started, and I used Zoom 2 or 3 years ago, maybe once, twice a year. Now I've got 5 Zoom calls a day that I'm working out, and we're talking to clients, we're doing things. And I think that if you can think creatively about how you can retain and grow your business, whatever it is, and if it's regular auctions that you're doing and you don't have an online presence, maybe it's changing over to an online presence, which leads me to my second point, which is technology. Because technology can allow you to maintain business operations and give you the opportunity to connect with your customers. We are in unprecedented times because if this were 100 years ago when the Spanish flu hit, there is no way that we'd be able to be doing this right now and having a webinar with all of the people that are signed up and being able to reach people all over the country. Really makes a big difference. If you think about how technology has really changed and brought us together, it has helped tremendously. I have been utilizing it a lot, not only with my clients, but also with my teammates. And so working with Gerjans, there's the main company the main office is in New York, and I have a team of appraisers there that I work with, and I work down here in Florida. But we've been having weekly Zoom meetings, just saying, okay, what are you working on? What's going on? What's happening? Here's what you need to be looking for. Here are the changes. Boom. And we try to keep it 30 minutes. And everybody gets their say, everybody says their thing, and move on, so that it's not, your day isn't consumed with these, but that technology can really make a difference. It's the same thing with online auctions, is that if you haven't ventured into online auctions yet, NAA has a number of classes that are out there. I know a number of the auction schools are talking about it. Get out there, learn to use the technology, because I will tell you, if you don't jump on the train is leaving the station, and things are going to be changing. As soon as this pandemic is over, we're not going back to where we were. We're going to be at a whole new place. And as entrepreneurs, I'm always looking forward. And I think you should be as well, is what is the next thing? What can I be doing with technology to help improve my business operations? And not only for my employees, but also for my customers, which leads me to my third point, which is, how can you provide increased convenience for your clients? Because ultimately, that's what your clients want. Now let's think back to the pandemic. What did most of the grocery stores that maybe had Instacart and things like that, boy, they ramped that up. They ramped up because clients wanted the convenience. It was also a safety issue, but they wanted that convenience. And I will tell you, I haven't been to a number of the supermarkets or to Sam's Club. I now order everything online because it is so convenient, and it really makes it so much easier for people. And I think that if you can look at it from your business perspective, what can I do to make it easier, more convenient for my client? Whether it's an easier portal for your client to log in, to follow their consignments, whether it's virtual benefit auctions and saying, here, I can help you. And maybe you're not the tech guru, but you've partnered with somebody that you can bring in that's a production company to say, we've got everything soup to nuts. And here, we're going to make it easy for you, nonprofit, so that you can then rely on me. I'm your go-to guy, that or gal. That makes a big difference. Now, I wish, failure sucks. I'm just going to say this right now. It does take an emotional toll. The emotional toll of failure is something all entrepreneurs, I think, underappreciate. I think you have to realize that. And I wish that I can tell you, guess what? It's going to be all rainbows and unicorns, that everything is going to be great. I can tell you everything will be great if you continue to maintain a positive attitude, and if you continue to grow your business in the way, using those 3 tips that I had told you about. Because yes, failure does suck, but you do have to use it as the badge of honor, as I stated before. Because at the end of the day, look, you got to suck it up, buttercup, and move forward. That's really where we have to go. So how can you protect yourself against the inevitable emotional challenges in your career? Now, we talked about the business side. Now I want to talk about the personal side, because I gave you 3 takeaways already, and I want to give you 3 more that will help you, that I think are common sense things for your personal life. You need to cultivate a healthy relationship with your business and your life. It is not just business, oh, and here's my life. No, it's got to be equal. And I think that as entrepreneurs, we lose sight of that. No, I understand that there are deadlines. I understand you need to be available, but you also have to draw the line. And you also have to be able to sleep, you need to exercise, and you need to eat healthy. And I'm going to say it again, and everybody say it with me. Say it with me. Sleep, exercise, eat healthy. I'm sure you've heard this, but I hope you really hear it with your ears and your heart when I'm saying this is that if you don't get proper sleep, you're not doing anybody any good because you're grumpy and your spouse is upset with you, your employees, they're like, oh my God, you're that bear. You need to exercise. And by that, I don't mean you need a gym membership and get a trainer, but if you have a dog, get out there and start doing 2 miles. Greg and I just got a new puppy, and I know I've been putting her up on Facebook. We're up to about 2.5 miles that I walk with her in the morning. That's just the morning walk. And then we do about a mile in the afternoon and then another mile at night. So, and it's great for the dog. It's great to be outside, and it's great for me. And I get out there, it breaks me away just for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and I can get back and I feel refreshed. And the last is eat healthily, is that if you can do that, watch what you eat, get checked out. Some of you may know this. Greg put this on Facebook, but in August he had a heart attack, and they put 3 stents in. And just last week they had to go back in and put 2 more stents in. He's great now. Everything is fine. His heart's really been checked out, so we know that everything is good. But and we did most of this. But Greg, I'm more the vegan, where Greg was more the meat eater, the carnivore. But now he's more moving toward a more Mediterranean diet, eating more fish and chicken and more plants, and not making fun of me eating the plants. But if you can get these 3 things in, 3 more takeaways from this, this is so important. The last, and this is my big tip, this is number 7, but most of all, find your community. And at the end of the day, we're all auctioneers, right? But there's such diversity, and there is such power in diversity. And whether you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, male, female, straight, gay, Buddhist, Christian, Catholic, Democrat, Republican, whatever, we are all here as a community of auctioneers. And I think what makes us strong is that diversity, is that community. And whether you're a benefit auctioneer, a cattle auctioneer, a fine art auctioneer, an auto auctioneer, machinery auctioneer, real estate auctioneer, we're all auctioneers. And we all understand the struggles. But if you want to find your community, it's easy to then share your frustrations. And that is the benefit and the beauty of the NAA, is having that. Now, entrepreneurship is lonely, it is isolating, and it is fear-ridden. You need to know you're not alone. That is why community is so important. It allows you to share your fears and experiences and problems. And I've built mine, and I will call them out. I've got people that I can just text and say, talk, I need help. Rich and Shannon Shore, Christy King, Tawana Kenny, Tricia Brower, Megan Mon Miller, Ruth Lynn. There's a number of them, and I know that they've called me, and I'll say, yep, I can give you 10 minutes. Here it is. Let's talk. What do we need to do? And if you can build a community around you and take down those walls of any kind of prejudice or crazy, whatever it is, look beyond that, open that up and say, I want to talk to somebody about this. Because if you want someone in your community, you want someone who is successful. And if you want to get advice from somebody, don't take advice from somebody whose business is failing. Take advice from somebody whose business is thriving, and find out what exactly they are doing. And one of the great things that the NAA has done is they have a brand new community cornerstone. And if you dig into this organization, to the NAA, learn from one another, share experiences, and see how much it lightens your load. I will tell you that I've been a member of the NAA going on 10 years, and I have made some of my best friends and lasting friendships, but I have also learned a tremendous amount about the business and helping others. And if you can do that and help lift the whole industry up, that's when we all win. That's when we all thrive. So I hope that you enjoyed this Remaking Your Entrepreneurial Spirit little presentation in 25 minutes. But I want to leave you with this quote from Albert Einstein. And I think this really makes a big difference. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. And if you can see the opportunity in the most difficult times, you will be always successful for the rest of your life. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. So we didn't really have any questions, just a lot of people taking that all in. I think it's a lot to process.
Yes,
Everybody
yes.
is enjoying it. Thanking you, thanking the NAA. I'm glad that you brought up the community cornerstone that we've added. The NAA is so committed to bringing the auction community together and having that, if nothing else, having that support system that you
I
talked
think
about.
it's very important, and I will tell you that I have used that support system to really help take my business to the whole next level, whether it's going to conference and show or going to CAI or Designation Academy. That has really helped me. And then also I love giving back. So the ability to not only do like this iSeries, but also to be on the education team for GPPA and also putting together the ICAP, the interpersonal communications for auction professionals, and working with the USPAP class. All of those things help, I think, us all grow so that we can grow and become better. And I think in these turbulent and crazy times, we need some sort of life jacket or support around us. And I think that's what community does. And at the end of the day, I know that there are people that I could call up and say, hey, I need your assistance or I need some help. That's what you want to build around you.
Great, thanks, Tim. I think this year, if I can expand on one part,
Sure.
things that you've said or that I think about, because I've been an entrepreneur a couple of times before this job, and
Mm-hmm.
the amount of chaos in this year, when you're used to having order in your life and your business, the amount of chaos and the amount of isolation that we're going through this year, I think are probably the biggest things that are tripping people up and feeling like Chip said, with a chicken with their head cut off.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that, you know, and I said this to a friend of mine last night when I was talking. I said, you know, I'm feeling and I'm not one to be depressed. And I'm feeling a light, like I just am like, oh, good God, when is this going to end? And it's that is where that when it's in the middle of that difficulty, that lies the opportunity. And this is where you need to break out of that and say, wait a minute, okay, no, I need to change my way of thinking. I need to look at it from a different perspective. I need to do something and take action so that I get out of that whole mentality and that whole way of thinking.
Great. Okay, we'll move on from the Q&A part. Sorry, reading a comment. Yes, can affect all of us in different ways. So the Q&A portion is over. It's now time for you to give us feedback on today's session. We're going to launch the poll. Please see that on your screen. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score and 1 being the lowest, how would you rate Mr. Tim Luke's iSeries presentation today? And
I'm watching.
I
No,
will
no, no.
never share these results with you. On
No.
a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being very likely and 1 being not at all, how likely are you to recommend iSeries to a friend? And then number 3, I would like to learn more about NAA's Virtual Designation Academy. That's an easy one. Yes or no? Give it a couple more seconds here. Make sure that you're putting your results in your votes in the poll box that should be popped up on your screen. All right, we'll go ahead and end that now. And we'll move on to our upcoming events. The NAA's Popular Designation Academy is going virtual this year, which means that earning a designation has never been more affordable or more convenient. This is the year to take that next step. We will be offering AARE, AMM, which has been rewritten this year, AMM Next, which is brand new for all the people who have AMM and want to go to that next level, BAS, CES, as well as a class on internet auction methods, and Train the Trainer, which is for anyone interested in doing what Tim Luke is doing right now, having
That's right.
a speaking and teaching moment. If you don't know what any of those letters mean next to each other, you can head over to auctioneers.org/designation academy for more information on all of our designations. You will receive a link to today's webinar emailed by the end of the week, and current NAA members can log in and access iSeries archives at auctioneers.org/iSeries. So your next iSeries webinar will be Wednesday, December 2nd, and we'll cover securing your cyberspace. So completely different topic there. Be sure to tell your friends. We will send specific information on that in the near future. So thank you again to Tim for sharing. Thank you for sharing your insight and your love and your your support with all of us. And
Sure.
thanks to all of you for taking part in NAA's iSeries. That concludes today's webinar. Have a great day.
Great. Thank you.